This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. A lot of people have been asking me to cover a new film on Netflix called Uglies. And whether you've heard of this movie or not, everybody out there needs to watch this video and see the subliminal messaging and what they're trying to tell you, because there is a ton of truth, as we know, in these films that they release as fiction. They use predictive programming and conditioning, and they flat out show you what is coming in the future and what they're going to do to humanity. And a film like this shows you very much what a world with the mark of the beast looks like versus a world without the mark of the beast. Because, believe it or not, in this film, there are people portrayed as either being pretty or being ugly. Those who take the transformation at 16 years old to become pretty become a part of this secular society. Those who do not become pretty, those who do not transform themselves through what they show you, as you'll see in this trailer clip, is clearly transhumanism, becoming one with the machine. Those who do not accept it become ugly. And the programming in here and the subliminals is over the top. I will give you a quick rundown of the plot, and then I will show you the trailer, and then I'll show you some other things that you want to see, which really talk about what this New World Order agenda is about, which is a rebirth of a new species, a new race of humans. They've been talking about this right in front of our faces for decades now. Celebrities have been talking about it, talking about transformations. That's what they're discussing. And all this stuff you see right now with transgender and acceptance and tolerance, this is all part of that movement. Just nobody's connected the dots yet. So Uglies is a 2005 dystopian novel written by Scott Westerfield. It's set in a future post-scarcity world in which everyone is considered an ugly until they're turned pretty by extreme cosmetic surgery, which is what they show you is cosmetic surgery. It is really transhumanism, man and machine becoming one. It tells the story of a teenager who rebels against society's enforced conformity after her friends show her the downsides to becoming pretty. The book is set 300 years in the future where the government provides everything, including plastic surgery operations. Everyone on their 16th birthday receives the pretty operation, transforming them into society's standard of beauty. After the operation, new pretties cross the river that divides the city that leads a new life with no responsibilities or obligations. And you'll see that this is set up for the pretties to live in what looks like smart cities. And the people who rebel literally look like they're living off-grid. And of course, you can see, as you've seen on the screen here, the poster for the movie with the one-eye symbolism, the cover for the book with the one-eye symbolism. That is not a coincidence. Here is the trailer for Uglies.
Tally, time to wake up. Time to wake up.
All my life, I wanted to be pretty. I thought it would change everything.
You waited your entire lives for this moment. All the flaws you have today will be gone tomorrow. One elegant procedure. You'll be beautiful because everyone is accepted. No one is left behind.
You get the surgery, they tell you what to do, and that's it.
What are you doing here?
I was worried.
Things are just different. You'll get it when you're pretty.
There's something about this place. What if I told you that there's an alternative?
Welcome to the smoke.
You have a different way of doing things.
We will do whatever it takes to protect that. These people want to end us.
Folk has decided their way of living is more worthy than ours.
I was told these lies my whole life. Time for you to make a choice. All my life, I wanted to be pretty. I thought it would change everything.
So there's a lot to unpack there, right? Obviously, you can look at that if you start thinking about taking the mark of the beast and people who are off grid versus people who are on grid. Because the more we get into this and the more people wake up, more and more people are going to choose to go off grid. They're going to realize, just like you heard in that trailer, that everything they were told was nothing more than a lie. And that's what we're seeing right now in front of us. Now, I know this is just a movie, But the themes of this movie hold true to a lot of what's happening in the world. It's not a coincidence that the villain in the movie happens to be a man with a wig who's wearing a dress. It doesn't happen to be a coincidence at all if you understand what they're conditioning people into, which is more than transgender, it's transhuman, right? So you saw the smart city versus the off-grid living, and how just, wow, what a shock off-grid living is. You know, the way people used to live for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and were perfectly fine. And there certainly wasn't this type of government overreach and meddling. But as the plot tells you, the future, the government does everything for you. And this is apparently a future that some people out there think is going to be beneficial to them until they actually wake up. And that's why they show you a monarch butterfly in the trailer, because the people who are living in the city are under mind control programming. And that monarch butterfly that we always see with all these celebrities, from the Lady Gaga, who I'm going to get into in a minute, because some of the stuff Lady Gaga has said ties right into this, and you'll see in a few minutes. But from Lady Gaga to Taylor Swift to Rihanna to Beyonce to everybody that we've seen in the music industry or Hollywood has some type of photo shoot involving monarch butterflies, because, of course, they are mind-controlled slaves. They are servants for the elites. They are the ones who do the social grooming and engineering. Everybody who chooses to become pretty in this dystopian hell that they showed you, of course, is under deep MK Ultra mind control programming. And that's why the girl, when she breaks free from that, talks about everything she was told was a lie. Does that sound familiar to anybody out there? Of course, they also go on to tell you everybody is accepted and no one is left behind. Everybody's accepted. You start to see what we hear going on in today's world with the United Nations and all these globalists talking about equality. They're not talking about caring and loving on you because you like to do this in the bedroom, or your skin color is that, or you've decided that you're no longer a man, you're a woman. They don't give a crap about any of us. Everyone is accepted, no one's left behind, is the motto that they have in today's society. And that is the future motto: inclusivity. Inclusivity. And who are the people who are considered ugly and are not allowed or are not a part because they don't want to be a part of that dystopian hell? Well, those people looked and sounded a lot like what you would expect Christians or people like us to be, right? So they show you the heart symbolism deliberately. I've talked about the deception with the heart symbol being the symbol for Baal. That's what this symbol means that we constantly see. The Antichrist comes in the name of love. And of course, they had to show you, as these people are becoming prettier, you see them going through machines. You see a needle going into someone's eyeball. I'm sure that's a coincidence, right? With the all-seeing eye. But something else you see are two quotes that pop up on screen: perfection and it's an illusion, right? Perfection. It's a common motto in today's society. Oh, to try to be perfect. Ooh, you could be perfect. Perfection, working harder, these types of things. This ties exactly into transhumanism. This has nothing to do with you working really hard and trying your best to get ahead in life or just to be a better person, a nicer person. It has to be with creating a hybrid human race, what they believe is a perfect human race. And here's a clip I'm going to play for you of Lady Barfbag Gaga talking, and you could see this is another clip of Lady Gaga where her face looks like a reptilian. Nobody questions what in the world's going on, what type of facial procedure did she have. But then when you see the trailer for that film, you start thinking to yourself, wow, it's like a different species. They're talking about a different species of human, right? They become perfect. They just say it's a cosmetic surgery. Does that look like cosmetic surgery? It clearly shows you them transforming human beings. Well, here's Lady Gaga back in 2011 talking about the symbolism in a lot of her performances, which are rituals, and how the egg symbolizes a rebirth. And what they're trying to do is birth a new human race without prejudice, because that's really what this entire satanic human hybrid they're trying to create is. And they tell you it's there's no prejudice because you're no longer human. And there is a prejudice. It's just a prejudice against people like me and you, a hatred for one common enemy that they have, which is Jesus Christ and his followers, his disciples, his soldiers. Listen to Lady Barfbag.
And what we've been doing with the egg and the rebirth, it's meant to signify an artistic statement of birthing a new race. And it's a race with no prejudice, a race within the race of humanity that bears no prejudice against anyone. So that's really the statement in itself.
Well, that's good. That's really good. That's really good. Now, you are.
So when people like that are on talk shows and they talk like that, the audience doesn't even have a clue what they're saying. They just applaud. You heard the audience applaud. They don't even know what Lady Gaga's talking about. They just hear no prejudice. So then they're automatically thinking that this is wonderful and this is benefit. This is exactly what's happening in today's world, where these wicked psychopaths, these guys in suits who you don't know, who show up on TV and constantly tell you that the world sucks, everything's bad, we're going to help fix it. And it's because everybody out there is hateful and everybody out there is prejudiced, and we want a world that's equal and we don't want any prejudice. And that's all the people here. They don't know who they are and they're like, yeah, that sounds nice, you know? But they don't realize that they're the ones who are creating the prejudices. They're the ones who are creating the hatred. They're the ones who are creating the war. They're the ones who are creating the famine, the diseases, everything. It's coming from those guys in suits and ties who tell you that they run these corporations or they're philanthropists and they're actors and they're all just trying to do what's best for all of us. What they're trying to do is condition you into this. And one of the last things I wanted to say about that clip from the trailer was you saw the villain, right? The guy wearing a dress. You saw what he said, and he said something along the lines of, their way of living is more worthy than ours. They believe that their way of living is more worthy than ours. The people who are off-grid, the people who refuse to mix iron and clay, the people who refuse to become one with machine, the people who refuse to transform with the New World agenda, with the New World order, to literally transform their genetic code. That's what that quote was. Who do you think that was referencing? Their way of living is more worthy. They believe that their way, because this is how our enemies here on earth view us. This is how Satanists view us. And they're trying to convince everybody out there with all these lovey-dovey talks about equality and not being prejudiced that we're the problem. That's eventually where this is headed. Lady Gaga, when she talks about a world without prejudice, continues to gaslight people into thinking that gays have no rights, that they're the oppressed people. And then eventually, as we're seeing now, fast forward, that's 15 years ago, what are people saying? Well, the reason that they feel oppressed and the reason this is happening to them is because of Christians. They've been the ones all along who won't accept them. But it's not about accepting them, because we don't have to accept somebody's preference in the bedroom. The problem that they have most is that we won't be a part of it. We won't spread it into our homes, and we don't even want to talk about it. And that bothers them the most, right? Most Christians out there, most people like me and you just say, look, if that's what you're doing in your bedroom, go ahead. Go ahead and do it. God will judge you when the time comes. I don't accept it. I don't want to be a part of it, but they want you to hear about it. They want you not just to hear about it. They want you to applaud it. They want you to join in, and they want you to let them come to your home to teach it to your kid. That's how insane this has gotten over the last 20 years or so, specifically in the last 5, right? Because it's not about accepting other people's preference for what they do behind closed doors. It's about pushing it and cramming it down everybody's throats out in the open. And that's what we see them doing. And anyone who refuses to accept this is hateful, is prejudiced. And this is all obviously setting up laws and rules against people like me and you, against Christians, against people who are speaking truth and exposing Satan and his minions for what they really are. So this is the new movie on Netflix called Uglies. And again, it ties in with the theme of the Mark of the Beast. The pretties would, in this story, seem to be those who accept the mark, who are part of society, the ones who rebel against it, have to go off grid. Did you notice the difference? People were living in tents. They were chopping wood, pretty much things that people like me and you do anyway, and have a much better, we all agree that we have a lot better days when we're not online, right? A lot of us have to get offline for days just to get away from that stuff, to have a healthier mindset, right? But they make it seem like, ooh, look at these people, look at this weird lifestyle. They're actually doing things on their own instead of living in our smart city with our science that could make you prettier, right? So you have your Mark of the Beast victims versus your people who refuse it, who are living off-grid, who clearly are not able to buy or sell and are not accepted in society. And I think what's really clear when you see that entire trailer and when you see the movie is you watch, when they talk about becoming prettier, they're not talking about going and getting Botox. Those have all been precursors for what's coming. I've warned about that. All this stuff with anti-aging and Botox has been preparing people for the mark, to live forever, to seek death and not find it in those times, right? And that's what they're showing you there. They weren't showing you Botox. They were showing you people who are hooked up to machines, who are having needles going into their eyes. Clearly, they were manipulating their genetic code. They were creating a new race of humans, which is exactly what they're attempting to do, which is part of the reason they're so hell-bent on getting inside of your body and getting underneath your skin, right? And you gotta love how they use terminology like perfection and also telling you out there about it being an illusion and being lied to your entire lives, right? Because that's what's going on right now. Just the people out there who are completely asleep literally think that we're the ones who are living in an alternate reality. They've convinced them of that, oh, they're off, they're not into the tech as much, and oh, they think the government's bad. And it's like, how in the world can any of these people think the government's good? Look what they've been doing. Doesn't matter, Republican or Democrat. Look what they've been doing. Nothing good, nothing beneficial. In fact, they haven't been working for us. And they've proven that. They've shown it, right? A tree is known by its fruits. Look at the fruits of all your politicians on both sides of the aisle. They're rotten to the core. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless all of you as always and your families.